Yo, good people, James Jackson here with Gator Media STL, where we provide digital solutions to enhance your brand. Today I wanted to talk about a particular project I was able to work on as a media sponsor. I'll get more into what that looks like for you as a media sponsor. This particular project was a project I believed in, and so I wanted to sponsor at least 60% of my work, 65% of my work, to making sure that the word got out about this project. And so I became a sponsor, which meant simply my logo, my name was on all the content that went out as far as marketing about this particular project and brand. And I wanted to do it because I believed in the vision of the person who created it. I had a relationship with him, and I believe that the things that he does, these particular projects and things he creates are unique, and they just need somebody to back them and support them. And so I personally decided I wanted my company to sponsor 60 to 65% of the marketing and ads that went out, video that went out, so that this particular project and his vision would have a certain look and a brand. And I wanted to provide a digital solution to enhance this brand. And so this particular project is called the Soundwave Comic Expo. And this was a project that was put together by Mr. Lamar Harris.
How do you cook this stuff up in your mind, man? I mean, where does this come from?
A lot of it's just out of comic books. You know, I read a lot of comics, watch a lot of anime and sci-fi, and I just wanted to give people an experience that was just something unique and different. Mm-hmm. You know, when you go to places like San Diego Comic-Con and go to like Dragon Con in Atlanta, you know, it's like stepping into like a playground. And I figured it'd be nice to create our playground here in the Midwest in St. Louis.
But this is going to be something to see, man.
Oh, it's going to be very interesting, but it's going to be cool though. It's an experience that you just don't see every day.
I felt like it was important that his vision was captured. And while it was captured, I felt like it needed to be shared properly. And so I took on the project, and I want you to see a little bit of what was created.
So what you gonna do? He come for you. Never, ever back against the wall. This ain't time to fall. You can kill them all. Hero, you got work to do. You just hold it down. Save the black and brown people. Coming to your rescue.
So what was unique about this project was, and what was hard, was the fact that I had to literally create everything from scratch, which simply means I had to take everything that I just had information on a sheet. There were no visuals that were put into play other than a few logos and a few characters that he had created. But I had to take literally, and I take that back. I literally had the opportunity to work with him before, where he hired me to film a stage musical or stage play where called Superheroes of Blackness. And he had this superhero superhero LJ, who came in the year 20 whatever, a little further, and saved the community. And so he put this whole play together and I filmed it. So I had a little footage from that I could use as far as the characters and people dressed up in costume. Well, at any rate, I just had writing, information, date, time, and a vision. But I had to turn all of this into some particular visuals for people to see. And so in doing that, I created one particular, I knew the location. So I went and flew my drone and had the locations, got aerial footage of the locations, flew the drone, and that turned out great. Then I kind of figured I'll put some captions and words of what's coming to these locations on the screen. That was one idea. And then another idea was just simply go into After Effects and just have all of this stuff happening and movement happening with the color schemes that he thought of. And so I was able to go to Story Blocks. I found some lighting effects and used the lightning effects. I found lightning effects and I used the lightning effects to show a lot of what I wanted you to see as transitions and just extra effects going on. I'm not really a heavy effects video editor, so I don't like to show a lot of that. I like to capture and just provide great content of what someone is sharing, and that's just really my style of editing and the type of work that I do. However, I wanted to just show a little bit with some lightning and some effects. I was able to capture Lamar and him talking about what he thought about the project and what he thought about how I approached it, and just here is some information from him.
It goes to pretty much like when you're dealing with a videographer or a photographer, it's building a relationship and them understanding everything that is laid out for is the openness to be able to trust you to grab the stuff in my head and bring it to life. It's also a trust to be able to understand that you have an openness to be able to open your creativity without any holds barred. Like my creativity is open without any holds barred. And when you see videographers and photographers that are passionate about the work, we're going to spend about 30 minutes to get this one shot. Keep rocking on the box. I always go back to my first experience with a photographer, which was actually Damon Meek. He took one picture and I paid for one picture. I'm like, do I get the rest of them? No, those are no good. You only get the one. And I was like, what? But that one picture got mileage out of it. The second picture I went to that he did for me, he had me rocking on a box with my trombone for literally 30 minutes. And he said, that ain't it, player, until we get the shot. And I just sat there and rocked. Finally got the shot. And I was like, man, all this was like one picture. But when I saw the picture, it was like, oh, Lord. Great picture. It's the same thing with dealing with videography, except it's just more elements to be involved and just move around. So being able to work with a videographer that's able to sit there and bring that stuff to life, that pays attention to detail, that sits down and takes notes about stuff. That's not like, what did you say? Okay, I think this is kind of what you want. Being able to give us some different options, understands the equipment, being able to have a fast turnaround, because sometimes we work on deadlines. We can't be still working on a promo video that's due Friday, working on it like 3 and 4 days later. It was due Friday. So being able to have professional people that are professional, show up on time, man and woman of their word, and understand their equipment and understand what exactly is needed to be able to serve the client and the client's target audience is the most important thing. You know, the very first when I first clicked on the link, the very first video I thought was good. It was a lot more of stuff what I call reality stuff, where it was pictures of the building, good effects happening. I really like the effects. I love the aerial shots. I liked the first one. I was like, okay, let me see what the second one looks like. I thought it was maybe just a small, different version of it. But when I clicked on it, it was like a whole nother different feel, which kind of played to my kid side, which it was good to have the option to be able to go back and forth, but to be able to have something that tapped into what activates the other side of me, the kid side, was like, priceless. I mean, like literally, I got excited in the coffee shop, like, oh wow, this is cool. And I had to be careful not to say it because I almost started making noise and singing along. And I was like, nah, I can't do that. But I immediately text back like, yo, I like this. And to be able to have options makes a big difference, because if we're leaning towards one way versus another, then we like, okay, we at least got some type of starting point that this is the direction we kind of like. If we've tried and exhausted those two possibilities and those do not work, at least we know, well, let's try something else. Neither one of these elements really work. So it was great to be able to have those options. But again, I always say it's priceless to be able to work with somebody that understands like who they kind of dealing with. That's why it's important to research who your client is and what they're kind of into. If they're into things that are geared towards a certain type of style, and they may be looking for something new, kind of still be able to understand how to relate to their style that they're comfortable to, but also be able to build off of that.
So I just wanted to share this with you because I feel it necessary so that you hear from clients and from people we work with just their ideas and how they envision the videographer to work. I feel it important that as you meet with each client, as those of you who are watching, as you endeavor to your dreams and as you help out others, that you sit down and envision and take it in, and as you offer help to help others, that they have the same great response to share. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't, please subscribe and take a moment to like this video and leave comments about experiences you've had with your clients and taking on projects like this, or anywhere you've had a creative block where you had to just come out of the box and create something. We'll see you in the next video.